question I commonly get asked is, why do you dress like a girl if you're trying to be a guy? And I put a lot of thought into this. Like, I think about the best way I can answer this all the time. The simplest way I can put it is, I don't see the way I dress as dressing as a girl. And yeah, that's really the simplest way I can put it. I understand in society, putting on certain types of clothes or wearing makeup or having long hair, those things are considered girl things because those are things that we typically see girls do and not guys. I just simply don't have that opinion. I don't agree with it. I understand when I go in public, okay, and I do wear feminine clothing or I wear makeup, people who don't share that same opinion as me or don't have the same experience as me, it's going to be confusing for them. For me, like, I don't see clothing or like anything self-expression wise, I don't see any of that as gendered. So when I transitioned from female to male, I wasn't transitioning from feminine to masculine. I was just transitioning from female to male. Like, I wasn't gonna change the way I express myself with that because it's just like a part of who I am. I know not everybody shares this opinion, but I think like the only reason that men really act differently than women, and I know like there are biological differences, okay, but I think the only reason self-expression wise that there's such a drastic difference is because of societies, because what people are taught and what's pushed upon people. I don't really think that's that crazy of a concept, but apparently it is. We are a product of our environment. But I think if there wasn't that pressure to fit into a role, I think that we would be a lot more similar, you know? And so I think like that's why my transition from female to male wasn't so drastic. It wasn't from me going from hyper feminine to hyper masculine. It was just me having a realization about this ain't right. Something ain't right. There's this misconception that trans people, they're born and then the second they gain consciousness, they just know and they hate their body and they just want to do everything to hide their body and change it. And, that is the case for people. I'm not trying to say that that isn't a thing or that isn't valid, but I don't think that that's really actually common. And that's kind of what's, expected, or you're not seen as, like being truthful and being authentic. It's like, I don't think most people, when they're really young, even understand the concept of gender or gender roles or body parts, to that extent. My first introduction to trans people was I Am Jazz, and obviously she transitioned at a young age and she knew from a very young age. And so people kind of see like that and they think, okay, well, that's how it's supposed to be, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's a lot more common for people to transition when they start hitting puberty, because that's when you really start to notice the differences between girls and guys. Before I was on testosterone, or when I first started, people were doubting me. People thought I was faking it, or they would like be nice to me and then they'd say shit behind my back. And then I got on testosterone and I feel like, I don't know, I stopped having as much issues like that because people see me getting on testosterone as like actually putting in the effort to transition, and they think that people who aren't on testosterone like and I'm not saying this is everybody, but I'm saying like shitty people, they think that, you know, you're more valid if you're medically transitioning, and don't realize like how difficult it is, and you know how long it takes to get to that point. Like, I'm extremely grateful that I got to start when I started, and that I found the place that I did. And not everybody is as fortunate as me. Most people are not. But I don't think that that means, like, doesn't mean that I should be treated any differently. Like, I don't know how to really explain it. Like, I guess it's because I got into this argument on Instagram the other day, and they were like, I was basically saying what I just said, like, I was fortunate that I was able to start testosterone, but not everybody is, because it's a difficult thing to get access to. And he basically said, like, well, good for you that you are at least putting in some effort. It's crazy that people think that my dysphoria and my discomfort with myself is centered around not passing to them, or not being manly enough to them, or not being like authentic enough to them. Like, they think like, oh, well, good for you for making an effort, as if I'm making an effort for you. I'm transitioning for myself. If I was stranded on an island and everybody else was gone, nobody had any perception of me whatsoever, I would still feel the way I do, because that's just who I am. And obviously you can make the argument that I wouldn't know about trans people if I was stranded on an island alone, but I'd be fucking dead. I used to be like that, but I got over it. Like, it's not about passing, because whether, and this is another thing I learned, I pass now, and you know, people still don't respect me because they just don't respect me. It doesn't matter if I put the effort in or not. That's a reason why a lot of people just don't put in the effort. Because why put in the effort to be respected by a group of people who just don't respect you anyways? It doesn't matter. There are trans men who look more manly than most cis men, and they still get shit on and called a woman. So why would I put effort in to pass or please a group of people who don't respect who I am? It gets tiring, it gets boring, it gets lame. People will throw in my face, like, they'll try and misgender me, or they'll be like, oh, well, don't get mad the next time somebody misgenders you. And that's another thing that's, like, really pushed in the media, is people think, like, all of us are just gonna jump on you and attack you if you slip up. And, you know, obviously it's hurtful, but I understand if I'm in a full beat. A full beat. I'm not saying that. Like, I understand that might be confusing for you. But, like, I'm also, like, I'm allowed to have feelings and boundaries, and, like, I think a lot of people just take being called out or being corrected as an attack, when it's not. And I'm not saying that there aren't trans people who, you know, go a little nuts, but just like literally any other group of people in the world, like, that doesn't make up for everybody in the community. I have gone pissed off at people misgendering me, but, you know, I give people chances. At this point, I mean, I'll just laugh in your face, because, I mean, seriously, But, you know, when I was preteen and people did it, it was a lot harder because I didn't pass and, you know, I never got gendered correctly. When I would get gendered correctly, it would be from people in my close circle. But even like people, you know, those people would slip up. And that's when it would hurt me the most, is when the people, you know, close to me who I thought saw me differently than the rest of the world and actually maybe saw me as me, when they would slip up. And then it would kind of be a moment where I'd realize like I felt like they were acting. And, you know, I still wouldn't be unreasonable. I'd give people chances. But, you know, after so many chances, I set a boundary because I'm a person. I'm allowed to have boundaries. I set a boundary and they would cross it, and I just don't fuck with that. But, you know, when it comes to people on the streets, I don't care. When it comes to people I don't know, like, it doesn't matter because, you know, we walk past so many people, you know, if you actually leave your house. You'll walk past so many different people every day who look and dress differently. And if you are like a mature adult, you don't really pay attention to those people. I never hated my body. Actually, I really liked my body. I still like my body. I don't know. It's never been like a hate. It's just like a disconnect. You know, like I can't feel like, you know, like I don't feel like I'm dressing myself up. I feel like I'm dressing up somebody else. Somebody else who looks fucking good, but not me. That's what it felt like. And it just was like, it would just feel better if I could just feel like authentic. And anything else, like anything besides that, like that's just beyond, like it doesn't really matter. Because like you can't live for other people. People suck. People are unreliable. We all know this. And like that pisses a lot of people off. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. Like, that's pretty much it. Get over it, honestly.